Hello, it is Foundation Friday, April 29th, 2022. Steve Sipress here with another in our multi-part series, on the fantastic foundational book, The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David J. Schwartz. As always, I highly recommend you go get yourself a copy. Otherwise, you can stay tuned here as we go through it bit by bit by bit by bit, including today. We will have one of the most important, to me, most important lines in the entire book. A key to building a successful business is found right here. In the next couple of pages that we'll go through, we're in chapter 7 about managing your environment, your surroundings, mental, physical, and here we're talking about your psychological diet, what you feed into your mind. And Dr. Schwartz starts by sharing with us the fact that many business owners today, and that was 60 years ago, hopefully it's more true today than it was back then, never add people to their teams in key positions without first interviewing the person's spouse. So, for instance, now this is what I'm talking about, one of the most important concepts for growing a business, because obviously, as anyone knows who's ever done it, it's not done alone. You need to have a great team around you. And when you're hiring or you're adding people to your team, you want to make sure that you are finding out what's going on behind the scenes and not just what they're doing while they're at work. And so, for instance, you might want to find out if they have support at home for high stress or long hours or travel or whatever it is, or erratic hours. Maybe they're, not having a set schedule, or maybe once in a while in an emergency getting called in or doing an all-nighter. I have a law degree, going to law school. In litigation world, attorneys are famous for pulling all-nighters for the day or two or a few days before a big case. You see it in movies and on TV. I don't know if you pay attention. I do, because it reminds me of what I knew. I had friends doing in law firms, and of course that's what we did in law school, is you pull an all-nighter when you study. So if you don't have support at home, in fact, if you have anger and frustration at home because of that, it's going to have an effect on how the person performs at work. Makes sense? And here's the key line that I remember this day from the first time I read it, probably about, 30, 40 years ago, when someone handed me a copy of this book. Said business owners today realize that what happens on weekends and between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m. directly affects a person's performance from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I remembered it as what happens between 5 to 9 has a tremendous effect on what happens between 9 to 5. And so I've thought about that a lot every time I've looked and interviewed and looked to bring on partners or employees or build a team at all. If they're in a key position, now if they're in a low-level position, might not matter, certainly doesn't matter as much, but in a key position, I want to know what's going on when they're not at work, because that will greatly affect what happens on the job. You see that in the world of sports all the time, because you see a player is having a tough game or something, and like, well, yeah, because, he had a death in the family, or had a fight with his wife, or, which fight with the wife part usually doesn't come up unless a real insider knows that. But if you've ever played on a team or managed people or managed a team, then somebody's into work, something's not right. You call them into the office, they're like, yeah, I had a big argument with my wife, blah, 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 blah. You got to get that straightened out. You don't just tell them, like, what? Suck it up, rub some dirt on it, get to work. Like, it's not going to work. What's happening off the job greatly affects people on the job. So you want to know what's going on. The person with a constructive off-the-job life nearly always is more successful than the person who lives in a dull, dreary home situation. And Dr. Schwartz tells the story of, maybe it's hypothetical, fictional, of two different people who pretty much seem the same on the outside, except how they spend their weekends. And one goes home on the weekend, and every weekend is planned, and it's like a certain activity Saturday morning with the Boy Scouts, and then Saturday afternoon with the soccer team with the kids, and then running errands and doing this, and then Friday night first was out with, friends, or having a dinner, or friends come over, and then Saturday night is some kind of, go out to a show or a play or a movie or something like that. And then Sunday is like, go do something fun with the family. We always pick an activity and go hiking or go to the zoo or go to the museum or go to whatever. And then Sunday night, always relax and kind of catch up on some reading or plan out the week. And there's structure to the weekend. And comparing that to person number 2, who has no structure and therefore goes home Friday night and is tired, looks at the wife and says, do you want to do something tonight? Yeah, I guess not. So nothing ever gets done. They sit there and go, oh, well, guess there's nothing else to do than just see what's on TV. And they click around and, can't wait till maybe drink a 6-pack of beer and just can't wait till the evening's over. And then Saturday, hey, got nothing really to do. So it's kind of like sleep late. And then kind of, oh, I got the honey-do list. I hate this. Maybe I have to do some stuff. I hate that, whatever. Oh, finally the day is over. Well, now we can, watch some TV again or watch a movie again or, do nothing again. And then Sunday again. And so now, as Dr. Schwartz points out here, that the second person's entire weekend is marked by boredom. By the time Sunday evening rolls around, the whole family is on each other's nerves as a result of cabin fever. There are no knockdown, drag-out fights, but there are hours of psychological warfare. So that weekend is dull, dreary, and boring. The guy gets no psychological sunshine. Now, Dr. Schwartz asks, what's the effect of these 2 home environments on the 2 guys? Over a period of a week or 2, there probably is no perceptible effect. But over a period of months and years, the effect is tremendous. The first one, the environmental pattern, leaves him refreshed, gives him ideas, tunes up his thinking. He's like an athlete, being fed the finest diet there is. The second one, his environmental pattern leaves him psychologically starved. His thinking mechanism is impaired. He's like an athlete, being fed nothing but candy and beer. So they may be on the same level today, but there will gradually be a wide gap between them in the months ahead, with the first one in the lead position, and casual observers will say, well, I guess that first guy just has more on the ball than the second guy. But those of us who know will explain that much of the difference in job performance is the result of the difference in the mind food consumed by these 2 guys. Every farmer in the Corn Belt knows, and I don't think it takes a farmer to know, that if he puts plenty of fertilizer with his corn, he's going to get a bigger yield. Thinking, too, must be given additional nourishment if we want to get better results. So, think, how are you nourishing yourself when you are off the job to feed into how you will perform on the job or in your business or wherever it is? And think the same when you're looking to add people to your team, or they're already on their team. You might want to get to know what's going on between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m., what's going on the weekends, not just what's going on at work, because what happens off work greatly affect what they do at work. This is made more challenging thanks to the ridiculous, ineffective anti-science shutdowns that we all unfortunately lived through, and the damage will be felt for decades to come over the past couple of years, because now more workers than ever are working remote, and it's even tougher than ever to kind of gauge how they're doing, how they're feeling. You don't see them come into the office and mope. They can put on a good face on a Zoom call. You don't see whether they're, how they're working, whether they're distracted, whether they're upset, right? You get the idea. Remote workers are a little tougher. So even more important to get to know them and to get to find out what makes them tick, what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on off the job. So same with you, same with your key workers, same with anyone you're looking to partner with. Find out. Behooves us to find out as much as you can of what's going on between 5 and 9, because that will affect what happens from 9 to 5. And of course, I say 9 to 5 in a theoretical way, because all business owners know, entrepreneurs, we're not working 9 to 5. What's the old saying about entrepreneurs? The good thing is, only have to work a half a day. I just got to decide which 12 hours a day that is. And that'll do it for Foundation Friday, April 29th, 2022, another in our multi-part series on the magic of thinking big by Dr. David J. Schwartz. We'll go into a little more detail here on how you can manage your psychological diet next Foundation Friday, and I will be back again with you tomorrow on Social Media Saturday. See you then. Have a fantastic weekend. Let's see if you're feeding your mind.